And now, Deep Thoughts with BlossomingSun and Just Playin'.
What's an introvert's favorite fast food place? In.
What if people have never been to America and they don't know what In-N-Out is?
Oh, there's a place called In-N-Out. That's a fast food joint in California on the West Coast.
Is it just California? Okay, I was gonna say I've only seen it in California.
Yeah, no.
But
I think it's only on the West Coast, and then you've got like Whataburger and stuff in Texas, and then I think on the East Coast have White Castle, which is not at all good.
So I don't have White Castle because I live in the South.
Congratulations.
And we have Crystal, which is essentially White Castle, just really unhealthy. Like, I feel like White Castle is slightly unhealthy, but oh my God, Crystal is really bad. It's really, really bad. I would never go there. Even under duress, someone would have to shoot me. I'd be like, no, shoot me now. Crystal Burgers, no thank you.
I don't know. It's one of those things. White Castle is, I guess they're called sliders because they just slide right back out of your stomach. It's nothing really good. And they come in like a briefcase. Like you can get a crave case. So you can get like 30 little mini burgers. Like it's going to be a business engagement. Like it's really weird.
Yeah, you can do that at Crystal too. Yeah, you can get like a...
You can?
Yeah.
They have the cases.
They have like a 10 count, a 20 count. I'm sorry. This like the combos.
We're doing like we want a number 5.
You can't even order just one Crystal Burger. You have to get 4. Like there's no...
Oh, that's jank. You can order single sliders at White Castle,
good.
yeah.
That's good.
The king will let you have that.
The king. Is the mascot a king? Is it really?
No.
Oh.
I don't even think there's any royalty. Maybe because of like the Burger King infringement possibilities.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that.
It's just a castle. It's just there's no royalty though.
There's no it's a royal democracy. It's a demonarchy. That's as
I think
best
that
as I could get there.
The Burger King ran them out.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just relocated. Who knows?
Also, Crystal is
Deep
spelled
thoughts.
with a K. If you want to Google it, it's terrible.
Oh, so it's like it's like cool. Like, oh, we're gonna make it cool for the
That's
cool
how my
kids.
mom spells. Oh my God, I've been so embarrassed by my family the last couple
God.
of weeks. My mom spells cool with a K. But then my uncle literally like yesterday, he was like, he shared this picture on Facebook, which you know is the butthole of the internet. And he said, tag your favorite food. And it was like, tag your favorite American food, or like American food of the South. And then he put under it, he commented and said tacos. And everyone was astounded. They were like, there's Southern tacos? And I was like, no, there are no fucking Southern tacos. The South does not make tacos. We take it too far and we get chicken and waffles. Like, that's all you get there. Chicken and waffles. A giant fucking fried chicken in between waffles. That's your fucking taco. Or you take it and you take the whole waffle and you take the fried chicken and you put maple syrup over it, and then you slap it in half. So terrible. Oh my God.
Can I just say that yes, Crystal is a complete knockoff of White Castle and the jankiest one I've ever seen.
It's so bad.
Somebody tried to copy someone else's homework. I like the BFFF. The extra F is for food. Best friends forever food? What does that even mean? Like, what does that mean?
Best food friends forever.
Oh, that could be. Like, which F is it? I guess is more the thing. They have a section that says social board and then no details to display. Apparently no one wants to be their best friend forever food. And then on top of all of that, I looked at their scramblers and it's literally just a cup of eggs and they've put a whole sausage patty on top. And I'm like, I don't know if you know what a scrambler is, Crystal. Like, I've never seen a restaurant that had professional looking photos that made me not want to eat.
You should come to the South. You should come visit here. Specifically Georgia. Specifically when we go to the mountains. I'm actually going to the mountains in a couple of weeks for my husband's birthday. And we asked this one lady, "Oh, what is there to eat there? And do you have any recommendations?" And the woman that's like renting our Airbnb out to us, she was like, "Okay, here's a couple places. There's like this very unique fast food joint. It's just called Neighbors. And everything here only takes cash. So just to let you know." And I was like, do you have ATMs? And she's like, "I'm not really sure." And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to a true podunk place. It's been so long. Like when people ask for money on the street, you know, whenever someone is like, "Oh, could you spare like $1 or whatever?" I literally don't have, I do not carry cash on me. Like it,
Yeah.
I get direct deposits. I don't work at a restaurant anymore. I do not get tips anymore. There's nothing of that. I get paid. I can give you PayPal money. Do you have a PayPal? I can give you that. I can Venmo you or Venmo. I don't know what that. Joe made me get that shit.
Oh, so. Yeah. It's like the competition for PayPal.
Yeah. Which, by the way, the lovely person you just heard is Just Playing, and I'm BlossomingSun. And
oh yeah, we forgot about that. Okay. But you probably think I'm Crystal at this point.
Crystal with a K.
K. Man, this Crystal with a K lady has some issues with her own store.
I used to think that Circle K, the gas station, was like a drug money front because Circle K is also a drug.
That is true.
I really thought that for a long time. I was like, how can they just call themselves Circle K when there's a drug called Circle K? But then, you know, later on as I got older, I was like, oh, maybe they named it because that's where they, you know, that's probably where all the dealers go, Circle K. And they deal.
No, the dealers all go to Walmart.
That's...
I remember there's like one of the Walmarts around here. Someone was like making meth in one of the toilets.
Oh my God.
It was the worst episode of Breaking Bad ever.
That's really terrible. That's like, what do they call that? The toilet hooch? Oh God. Making, oh, good Lord.
If they don't, they should.
So today, we're talking about introversion. Introversion? Is that the word? Introvert?
Yes.
I am an extrovert. And apparently I have very few extroverted friends, which is fine. I ain't no thing. I
just gotta feel special. Gotta be the only one there.
No, that's not true. Okay, so like, all right, here's the dealio. I did this Twitter poll the other day, and I said, hey, are you more of an introvert, an extrovert, or like a mix of both? Which I didn't want to put ambivert on there and sound really fucking hoity-toity, so I didn't. I just put good mix. So 63% of people said introvert, which, cool. But 10% said extrovert, completely extrovert. So that's 7 people other than me that I know. 7 people. And then 27 is a good mix, which I feel is pretty, that's a quarter. That's pretty good. But 63%, I thought it was legit. Okay, when I first put it up, within like the first 5 minutes, I got 33, 33, and 34%. And 34% was a good mix. I thought
it was like a petty race.
Well,
like, oh,
I thought it was,
they're all going to come in right around the same.
Yeah, and I was like, this is going to be dope, and I'm going to realize that all my friends are just, you know, diversity. But no, I am in the rare case of being an extrovert around all these introverted people, which I told Jess when we first started this podcast, I had some introverted questions for introverts, because a lot of the time I struggle with, well, I feel introverts struggle being in society as a whole, at least in America and developed countries. But I feel like society is just like very much propelling extroverts forward. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like introverts are stepped on in careers and workplaces and shit, and they want you to be outgoing and they want you to be like.
But I don't know. I think that introverts, it's not really like we're troll people. It's just it's just more that you can like you can fake it in a workplace. I mean, you can still be more outgoing at work, but just still want to do stuff. It's essentially just like you like hanging out with people
So can I?
Most of the time, I would prefer just hanging out at home.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. So I have to tell you this thing that I read the other day. Well, actually, my friend was reading it and she was pointing it out to me because so she's working in HR.
Yeah.
And she's super into the Myers-Briggs personality test. And so in her book, where she is taking the certification for HR managers, it says introverted people do not work well in teams and should not be promoted to work in teams and should be. What? And I was like, what the fuck? And she said, look at this. Look how backwards this is. Because we're both extroverts and we're just like sitting there. And I was like, what? Is this real? I think people still like to be around each other. They just need time to like chill out and be by themselves.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah. And there's actually some extroverts that aren't great at working with others because they think they know everything. And there's introverts that actually would prefer to work with others. And they would be great in teams. And so she was like, but look how outdated this is. And I'm learning this now to get a certification for the next 5-10 years of my life. And so that's why I think society as a whole undervalues introverts and just doesn't really get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then there's things that I don't get.
That's a shitty class too. Because I mean, I did the Myers-Briggs in a career class a long time ago, and they never really discussed.
This isn't a class. This is literally the certification that you get to become an HR manager. You have to have.
Well, it explains why HR is so shit everywhere.
God, yeah. No fucking joke. I told her, I was like, you need to rise in the ranks and you need to educate these people so this backwards ass shit does not continue. And so she was like, yeah, that's my dream. Corporate HR. Fix everything that's wrong with corporations. And I was like, fuck, that sounds like a big fucking job. I'm glad I'm not doing HR. Dear God.
But yeah, the last time I did a Myers-Briggs, it was ages, probably like 2-3 years ago. I did it like right at the end of graduate school because they forced you to do it. I got INFJ, which is
INFJ?
Intuitive.
Oh my God.
Introverts. What was it? Introverts, intuitives, feelings, and then judgy or something.
Yes,
judgers. I mean, I know that one's a surprise.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, so you're an INFJ. I'm an ENFJ. Mm-hmm. So,
hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So INFJ is actually the rarest type of Myers-Briggs, and then ENFJ is right after it. Isn't that crazy? So
we're diamonds.
It's fucking, oh my God. I'm not a diamond, first of all, but thank you. It's just like, oh my God. I read this article about INFJs and I was like, oh my God, I do actually feel all of these things in certain ways, not like to the full extent of it, but it was like saying that you criticize yourself even after you're done with something. And it was like, you're still going back over what you did. And then, like, you judge people, but not in the way that most people think. Like, you don't judge them for their choices.
Yeah.
But you judge them for their actions when they make shitty decisions. And I was like, fuck. Okay.
Yeah. It was pretty dead on.
Locked. We're going to keep it locked away.
Because I remember it was like, you're compassionate, but you're also, want people to do certain things a certain way, and it was definitely. Yeah. I know it said something about enjoys intellectual stimulation a lot. It's like, yeah, definitely.
I think
it hit for me, definitely.
I think that Myers-Briggs overall is pretty accurate. I don't think it's like other personality tests, I think it's a lot more accurate than astrology. I think it actually does help for careers. Oh my God, one time though, I had to take this career quiz. It was like a career personality quiz to see how you work, and it was colors, and I was given purple and orange, and purple was my primary and orange was my secondary, and I don't remember those shits. I was like, why not just give us traits, like actual words? Like, I know I'm purple, but what does that mean?
Yeah, you're making me blue. It's just... So I decided to look it up because I remember the last time I did it, the Myers-Briggs site has a bunch of different like cartoon character
Oh,
people.
yeah.
Apparently, we're listed under diplomats. So INFJs
Yes.
are quiet and mystical, yet very inspiring and tireless idealists. And apparently, ENFJs are charismatic and inspiring leaders, able to mesmerize their listeners. What are we, like, shitty magicians? Like, that's what I'm getting from this.
Oh my god! That's what you've been training for all your life! Oh, just playing! We found...
But it does kind of look like us. I'm gonna have to send you the picture of this after, because it kind of, you've got a little flag, and I've got like a green dress and like a weird Sailor Moon headband on. It's not a good look for me.
Okay, I think it would be a good look. I think it would go well with your Shia LaBeouf dress. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I lost my dignity a long time ago. The headband wasn't gonna matter.
So, okay, I have 7 questions for Jess. And they are...
let's have 7 questions in heaven.
Oh, hell yeah. So I will... Okay, the first couple of questions don't really have any preface to them. So, like, the first question is literally, is there anything you don't understand about extroverts?
Okay. So right before I start answering everything, I did tell BlossomingSun beforehand too, my introversion is also fueled by my anxiety a lot, so I get really bad panic attacks. So sometimes I wonder often if I am definitely an introvert, but is it made worse by that? So I asked the person that I live with, Token, to also answer these as well, because he is just a straight introvert, so that I could see if it was influenced in any way, shape, or form. Right. So for that one, which is there anything you don't understand about extroverts? I said not really. I mean, I don't really consider them to be an alien species. I understand that they're just people that thrive on others, where I would thrive on recharging alone.
Yeah.
So I get that you would want to talk to people, and that gives you energy. Sometimes talking to people for long periods of time actually drains me, so I have to go and do other stuff. And I asked Shatoken the same thing, and he said no, not really. There's nothing that he doesn't really understand about them.
Cool.
That he would need to.
All right.
Is there anything you would like to share about extroverts?
Well, it wasn't so much... Okay, so I asked this question because I was looking up online questions for introverts just to see if other people had similar questions as me. And it seemed like all the articles were like, why extroverts don't understand introverts? And I was like, bitch, I'm not fucking dumb, okay? Like, I just want to understand people better. That's why I have questions, okay? All right, I don't know fucking everything in the universe, all right? Thank you. It's just like all the millennial...
lied to.
Millennial...
I thought you did.
Oh, jeez. It's just like all those millennials are killing the economy. No, bitch, you did that, Karen. All right, okay. Anyways, I'm done. I'm going on my rant. But there was like 15 articles like what things extroverts don't understand about introverts. I was like, bitch, just no. That's just like things that leave. Anyways, it's just clickbait articles.
Girl,
it was fun.
Like the internet's, when you're doing research these days, the internet's the worst. It's like, I want a brownie recipe, and you'll find some random article that's like, why brownies are actually part of the patriarchy, and you're like, please stop. All right, please. How do you have the time in the day?
Oh my god. So then I was like, oh, maybe there's articles about extroverts not being understood. No, we loud and proud.
No.
Everyone understands. There's not a single article about introverts not understanding. So I expected that answer from you, but I just wanted to I just wanted to be confirmed, So I thought that was cool. Oh my god. Okay.
Because I feel like it is. It's like you're out there, you're talking, you're doing stuff, you're hanging out with people. So people are more aware of the nuances of you.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed, like, if you're a little more quiet, suddenly it's just like you're compared to Gollum. Like, no one knows who you are. You're a mystical creature.
Yeah. I feel, okay, so here's the thing. I feel like because extroverts, there is one thing that I think extroverts have a benefit over introverts. Introverts also have a benefit over extroverts. I feel like introverts are much more, they don't overreact. They take a lot more time to process their thoughts and get them in line before reacting to saying something. And so I feel like introverts are definitely much more composed. and usually a lot more polite. And then extroverts have this thing where they don't get embarrassed as easily because they are more adept at socializing because they just do it more. So those two things are literally just habits that we've developed. So introverts develop the habit of introspection and processing emotions and like going through all that shit and thinking about it in their brain. And that's great. And that gives you all these other benefits that extroverts don't typically have. And then extroverts have this thing where we don't get embarrassed easily. Like, it would take a lot to embarrass me or make me go red in the face or anything like that. I'm very easy to brush that stuff off. It doesn't bother me. There's a lot of stuff that people can say that I just don't care about. Because over time, when you socialize with people, you'll realize some people are just doing that to get on your nerves, and other people, if they actually are saying something,
damn good.
Yeah, well, if you care about someone and you're sharing your opinion with them and you actually want them to take you seriously, you're gonna say it in a nice way. You're not gonna say it in a rude way. You're not gonna be fucking awful to them. You're gonna want them to change, so you do it in a nice way. So that's what I learned. But number 2, the question I have for you is when you need alone time because you're exhausted socially. So that's part of the question. But leading up to that, I want to know, is there a right time for people to contact? Like extroverts, should we give you like a couple of days? Is there like a special amount of time to come back and reach out to you? Because I know, like I just said, extroverts are good at socializing. Maybe after your recharge time, you feel weird or awkward about trying to talk again because it's been a period of time where you haven't spoken. And when that happens, extroverts are like, in our brains, we're not like, oh, they're just recharging, enjoying their life, whatever. In our brains, we go, oh my God, they must fucking hate us. What the fuck did we do wrong? What did we fuck up? Where have we gone wrong? Why is everything terrible? And so is there like a good period of time that we should come back and talk to introverts if they've not spoken to us? Number 1, a good amount of time for us to not seem annoying. And then number 2, or creepy. And then number 2, a good amount of time when we should reach out and be worried. Like with a worried tone?
Yeah, like I think it definitely depends on the person for sure. And I mean, there are a few questions there. I would say definitely it depends on your friend and what they're like. Mm-hmm. If you're really concerned about it, what you could ask is if they just needed space, if they're like just chilling out, if they're peopled out.
Yeah.
I personally don't have a problem with people continuing to message me. I don't think there's a reason why you should stop messaging someone. Maybe not message them like 50 times in a day. Like, why aren't you talking to me? Why aren't you talking to me?
So 49 times is the amount of times in the day that I can message you, Jess. All
you
right?
could do 49 messages and then start a message and just not finish it. That's 49 and a half. Also leaves me with a cliffhanger. I'm curious about. Gets me engaged.
All right.
But no, basically for me, if I'm peopled out, essentially what I'll do is I'll usually tell everybody I'm peopled out and I'm taking a break, so I might not be around as much. Mm-hmm. But if you do have a friend that doesn't necessarily do that, I usually am just more terse. I'll respond to people, but it'll just be like really direct and to the point. Like, okay, I'll do that. Or yeah. Or no. Like, it'll just be, instead of like 15 million words of like, yes, slay all day, hashtag blessed, hashtag like, I'm just like,
instead of a novel, you get,
it's just, exactly. And it'll usually take me about 1 to 2 days before I start feeling good to talk to someone. In terms of like, do I feel weird when I go back to talking to people? Mm-hmm. No. I mean, it's not like I've sat in a room like a monk and have not spoken at all and just like, like I just, I go right back into it. In fact, I'll usually feel more charged and ready to do it.
Right.
Because I'm not so exhausted.
I think the advantage you have there is that you're being upfront about it and you're like, hey, see, we're adults. That's so nice. It's just like,
I'm like, I'm tired of you bitches. I'm leaving.
There's just some of my friends who I don't know if they just crash and they're super peopled out and they don't want to talk at all. They just don't want to socialize at all because they're scared. Maybe I'll like ask a couple questions leading up to that. Like, oh, hey, are you okay? You know, if someone comes to me and is just like, hey, I'm exhausted. I'm not going to really be up to socializing for like, even up to a week is fine. Um, because it's just, some people just need more
Yeah.
recharge time, like you said. But a lot of the time, they just stop talking to me and they don't
Yeah.
tell me ahead of
Which,
time that they're overwhelmed with socializing or they're what you called peopled out. And then I'm like sitting there and I'll send them something and they don't respond. And then that's where I'm like, oh my God, they hate me. I did something wrong. I said
yeah.
something wrong. Something happened. Let me go back and analyze all 50,000 words that I've ever said to them.
So yeah, it's one of those things like I used to not tell people in advance
Yeah.
that I would be doing that. I know Shitoken doesn't either. So it's one of those things where it's like if you know you have a lot of extroverted friends that worry about that, which I do, I will just straight up be like, I'm going off the grid kind of thing. Or
Yeah.
I might not be as active on the grid because I rarely go off of it
Right.
because I just know that people are going to message me regardless. In
You so
terms of
popular, just play it. Ooh.
really it's not. It's just like random. Like I'll be like, I gotta just kind of go and do some stuff, and it'll be like, I wanted to talk about pot
Oh
roasts.
my
Just randomly. I'm
God.
like, oh no, this message like 3 hours ago. Okay,
What do you
but
think of this picture
Shitoken,
of kittens? Do you
yeah, and it's like
go away?
when I asked Shitoken the question, he basically said that he just waits to respond until he's ready, which I remember from like first talking to him, where I would message him, and then it'd be like a day and a half later, and I'd be like, he hates me, he's never going to talk to me again. But then it would be like, oh yeah, I do really like this. Like,
Aww.
so it's one of those things. Some people just it takes a day or so for them to get back into it. Sometimes it can take longer. I think it's just kind of talking to your friend, figuring out if you're worried about them. Like I have other introverted friends that go off the grid for like a week or a week and a half. And I'll just check on them and be like, "Hey, are you dead? Like I hadn't like you were talking all the
That's
time
what
about
I
all
should
these things,
say.
and then you just disappeared."
I should
And
just
they'll
be
be
like,
like,
"Are you
"Nope,
dead?"
I'm alive." It's just like
Yeah.
just taking some time, and it'll be like, "Okay, cool." So yeah, if you're really concerned, maybe just ask. Just be like, "Hey, I don't want to be bugging you. I'm just worried about you or something."
Cool. So maybe a week, week and a half, it should be like, if I'm thinking about it, maybe just measure and be, hey,
Yeah.
like, hey, I love you and care about you. Just wanted you to know I'm thinking about you. Not in a creepy way. And I want to make sure that you're doing all right.
Not
So,
in a sexual way.
yeah. Not in a sexual
So
way.
now it's
Not at
like
all.
now it's just how to get a restraining order
Yeah,
with BlossomingSun.
exactly. That's, oh my God.
Like, oh, they said to go ahead and message them and be like, I'm thinking about you. I'm outside your house with my radio.
I've never seen Say Anything, but I know what that's from. A.
But yeah, it's also nice to just directly ask because it lets them know that you care.
Yeah. And also, maybe introverts out there, let your friends know if you're peopled out. If okay, here's the real fucking tea right here. If someone is upset with you because you need time alone, this used to happen to Joe all the time. All the time. So his best friend is a super extrovert, loves being around people 24/7, has 4 roommates in his house, loves having people around all the time, works out with people every afternoon after work, loves talking to people, loves being with people. It just enjoys socializing in all forms. And a long time ago, when we were younger, when we all lived closer together and we had, less like real life friends, he would want to hang out all the time. And sometimes Joe was just like, I just want to be alone and like relax and read a book. And when Joe started to feel like he had to make up excuses, because there was one time where he told his friend, I just want to do nothing. And his friend was like, that's stupid. Like, and I was like, wow, that's not okay. You don't make fun of your friend if they just need like me time. Me time is universal to extroverts and introverts. Maybe there are like crazy outliers like this guy who's an extrovert and he just likes to be with people all the time. But I've recalled there's been like 2 or 3 times where he was like, yeah, I've scheduled to do nothing today. So that's, everyone needs me time.
Yeah.
But it's just let your friends know. And if they make fun of you, shame them. shame them for not being adults. Shame them, say they should respect your time. It's your time and not their time. And you let them know you're going to relax and you're going to feel better than ever when you come back and enjoy their company. But if they force you to be with them, you're not going to enjoy their company and you're going to start to resent them. So just be upfront. Just be upfront.
Can you bring a bell and just shame them in the streets?
Yeah.
Just ring it behind them?
Oh my God, yeah. Just
okay?
follow them while they're naked. Oh, okay, let's not go that far.
Again, how to get a restraining order.
All right, so number 3, this question. All right, so I realized maybe this question doesn't really relate to introverts so much as people that have mental health issues. I realized maybe this isn't like yeah. I feel like this is more of a mental health issue thing rather than an introvert question. And I didn't realize that until I reread it today. But the question is, how can extroverts let you know that we're hanging out and wanting to be with you because we like you as a person and not because we think you're lonely? Now,
yeah, I was a little confused by this because I was like, do you think that when you think of an introvert, do you think of a lonely person? Because it seemed like kind of a loaded question.
Right. So I don't think of introverts as lonely people, but I worry that introverts think like we know that you know that we know. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. So that Karen said.
My brain was going into like this rabbit hole. So sometimes I worry that introverts have a perception of extroverts where extroverts are just trying to cater to introverts as much as possible because they think that we think they're lonely. Does that make sense? And like, I don't think of introverts as being lonely. But if anyone that is an extrovert is listening to this, introverts are not lonely. They're not. But I did have at one point, I wondered, do introverts think that we think they're lonely? Right? And
so I can't speak for everyone.
Right.
But from my perspective, my instantaneous thought was that I would never think that someone would reach out because they thought I was lonely. I would think that they would reach out for one of two reasons. They either A, wanted to talk or hang out with me, or they B, needed something, typically. Like, I don't really think
smart.
that people just message me and be like,
oh,
they're lonely. Shatoken also thought the same thing. Quote, I never thought they would reach out because they think I'm lonely. And if they did reach out for that reason, I would tell them to fuck off. Very eloquent. It's one of those things. It's kind of the same thing. I don't think, at least from the both of us, I've never thought that, like, say you reach out to me and I'm like, well, she just thinks I'm lonely. She just pities me.
Yeah.
There might be more if you are depressed or something that they could be like, someone might think that, but I don't think that relates to introversion necessarily.
Yeah. I think
that's because we're just recharging. We don't think that you're contacting us because
I do think that people that have depression are more inclined to be introverted. And so what I mean by that is I think introvertedness is actually a symptom of depression, if that makes any sense. Like,
I know for a fact I would be more extroverted if I didn't have anxiety.
Right.
But I still would be an introvert because I just really enjoy being at home more.
Yeah.
But I would probably go to more parties and stuff.
I still think of myself as extroverted, but I don't go to parties. Like, I'm just not a party person. I mean, okay, I'm going to a meetup today, but that's not a party. That's like a place where I know people, and it's not like let's all just get together and get drunk. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that. Number 4 is, this is sweet. Okay. So this is something that I've always wondered about introverts. This is like, I know this answer for extroverts, but I've always wondered, like, what is the perfect type of day for an introvert? Like, what do you need? what are the feelings and what is the recipe for a good day? Like, what does the schedule look like? What is your perfect date? Please don't say April 15th, because I have seen Miss Congeniality.
Oh my God.
That's not how you make movie
references.
It's all you need is a light jacket, so, you know.
But this one was actually odd for me because I was I don't think that I necessarily have a perfect day schedule. My days are kind of fluid. Like one day I will plan something out and I will be like ideally my perfect day would probably be, get a few things done at the house, do some, light work, and then, stream or something. Spend a little time with friends, a little time at home, kind of a mixture. But honestly, I will wake up one day and that will sound great, and then the next day it will sound terrible.
Right.
So it kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah. So some days it's more like you don't want to be around people, and sometimes you're like, today's people day.
For me, at least, the perfect day schedule changes.
Right.
Depending on what day it is in my mood. Shitoken basically said the same thing. It depends on your mood that day.
Right.
I think we're kind of like flighty people. So there may be some introverts that have a perfect day, like already planned, and they know like this is my perfect day and this is how every day would be. But I know that I wouldn't. I like variety too much.
So if you looked back at a day and you said, I felt really great about that day, what would it look like? It would look like a little bit of productivity, a little bit of socializing.
Yeah, actually yesterday was a perfect example of it. Like I got up, did a few things at the house, like got some stuff I had been meaning to do done forever, did a little work, and then went out for a little bit, had dinner with Shitoken, came home, and we watched a movie and drank in the house.
Hell yeah.
And then played a little bit of a game, went to bed.
People
that's perfect.
That drink outside of your homes, you're suckers unless you make a shit ton of money. Then good for you. Good for you.
I mean, you can make buckets at your house. I've done it.
You can make buckets. Hello. It's also like you can, just buy the liquor. Just buy it. It's so much cheaper.
And you cannot wear pants.
Yeah.
The last bar I did that at, they asked me to leave.
All right. So, number 5. My question is socializing sometimes easier and sometimes harder for you? Now, this is going to be interesting because I'm interested to see what Shitoken's answer is versus your answer. And does it depend on the situation or people?
Yeah, so for me, this was one of those ones where I actually started asking him the questions because I know for a fact this is more based on how anxious I am feeling. Mm-hmm. So I would say that in terms of my introverted side, it's how much I just want to do it, how much I want to go out.
Yeah.
But the hard part is when I am really anxious, there are some things I don't want to deal with. And particularly when I know there are people at a situation that don't like me or that I have issues with.
Yeah.
Like that makes it worse.
Oh, for sure.
So it definitely depends for me on the situation and the people. If I know there's going to be somebody there who hates me and I'm going to have to stand there and it's going to be really awkward, and that's going to like spike my anxiety real bad.
Now, what about if it's a smaller group versus a larger group? Does that change your...
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter? So,
like, we could not even really have to run into each other much, and it will still bother me.
Right. So if it's a huge group of people of which you know no one versus a small group of people of which you know no one, it would be typically about the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
About the same.
Cool.
Because I just get really, really freaked out by that kind of stuff.
I agree with
that
you.
Is
I think that's pretty normal, to be honest, because also I don't like being around people that I think hate me. So
yeah. And it's just, I know I've gotten better over the years, but like I remember the first couple conventions I went to and stuff, PAX East, there were so many people around me and I wasn't quite used to that yet. So yeah. I ended up having a panic attack and having to go out in the hall and just kind of like take a few deep breaths and like chill out for a little bit. Yeah. Like I've gotten better because it's just trial by fire, right. Like doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But those kinds of things still happen from time to time. Like just customer service jobs and stuff too I have problems with because it just socializing, if I'm already at a base level of anxiety, having a lot of people talk to me all the time,
because it's like customer support and those people generally aren't not happy.
Yeah. So those kinds of things I always have problems with. So I asked him, And he said it's not easier or harder. It's just how much he wants to do it. Does he want to go out, hang out with people that day, or does he want to just stay home?
Oh, really? That's so interesting.
That it doesn't really affect it.
Yeah. So it's literally just the energy levels and if you're feeling up to socializing or not.
Yeah.
Man.
Exactly.
That's really cool. I mean, I'm always up for socializing, but I will definitely say that as an extrovert, if it's something that I'm being forced to go to, and I honestly, okay, I just want to be upfront with everyone. I love my family very much, but they are fucking crazy, batshit insane people. And I do not always want to be around them. And
they don't put the fun in dysfunctional.
They don't put the fun in dysfunctional. I do not like family holidays. I hate Thanksgiving. I like Christmas, but it's only because I like giving my friends gifts that I know they will enjoy. I could give a shit about my family when it comes to holidays because I really feel like I go and see people that I rarely ever see. There's only like a handful of people that I actually enjoy being around. I'm forced to go see all these other people that I don't really give a shit about. I mean, I love my family and I do care about them and I want them to be happy, but I honestly don't want to talk to them. And so every time Thanksgiving comes around, it's really hard for me to look forward to actually Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's so difficult. And I don't care anymore. Like, I wish I could, but I don't. I really look forward to hanging out with my friends because I rarely get to do that. And I really look forward to, like, spending time with you, Just Playing, on this podcast. And I look forward to this, but I don't look forward to that other shit. Even if I'm up for socializing, I don't want to go. I'd rather go to a random fucking Starbucks and get myself a nice latte and just talk to someone in line because they're not going to ask me invasive personal questions about my life and then ask me why I don't have any children. I will fight you.
Yeah, because I mean, that's one of those things, like, I think we can all, regardless of how we feel, agree upon when you're like forced into a situation where people are like asking you questions you don't want to be asked or being weird.
Creepy.
Or just creepy, or there are people you don't like. All of those are family reunions. There's always those people that are way too invasive or don't know what you're doing or are like, oh, you quit that job too? Like, okay.
All right. Yeah, I did. Oh, congratulations.
Or like, oh, I saw your stream. Could swear a little bit less. Like, those kind of like, it's one of those, they're the great family members and they're the not so great.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. Number 6. Is there any advice that you would give to extroverts to help them get along with introverts better?
Definitely communication is key, like we talked about earlier.
Yes. Oh my God.
I'd say assume things less. So don't like, oh, well, they didn't respond
Tell
immediately.
Your brain
they didn't respond within a day. Which is difficult.
Yeah.
If they don't respond, they don't hate you. They may just be busy or not be able to talk. They may just be recharging or not want to do something.
Yeah.
If you're worried, tell them and just get to know that person. So it might be difficult like when you're first hanging out, but after a little while, you're going to kind of understand when they go off the grid, what they're doing, and you'll be able to respond with that better.
Yeah.
And the best way to find that out is through communication. It's the same as the way that you feel about hanging out with people and how you recharge from that. Just put yourself in somebody else's shoes and be like, they feel the same way about like reading a book with no one around them. It's the exact same thing.
Right. Yeah.
It's just understanding that it's kind of the opposite.
Right.
From
I was going to ask you one other question. My brain just died. It just died. I had like a question in my brain. It's continue talking. I'm sorry.
Shatoken said that basically just remember they're human beings. They're just like you. Introverts just basically like extroverts still like people. Introverts still like people, but they just prefer to be alone.
That's just like being alone as much as
they don't hate people.
Yeah, they don't hate lonely people. That is one thing. Like, I would say really toxic extroverts, I would say they probably assume that introverts just don't like people and that they're all misanthropes. And that's not true. People just need to be alone and recharge and like chill. They just need to chill. They can't have people around. They're freaking out. They're like, oh, what are these people going to do? Are they going to stab me? Are they going to...
Yeah, I think that in a way, the way that I feel when I'm anxious is I think that how that's perceived all the time, but that's not introversion. That's something else.
Right. Yeah. So the last question, number 7. Did you know that I picked 7 questions because 7 is my favorite number? Fun fact.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Fun fact. Has being an introvert affected you negatively in a working capacity? Meaning,
so
have you ever been passed up for something, or have people ever said, you really need to step up and ask for promotions if you want them? You have to take the initiative. We really appreciate people that, there's just a couple things, but maybe I'm thinking of like a different type of job or like a specific type of career. So you can tell me if you've ever been affected negatively, and then I'll give you some examples that I have of my friends, of my fucking 60, how many fucking people? 63%? Yeah, 63% of y'all motherfuckers.
You should always just say it's 69%.
Oh my God, would that be lying about my findings? Jessica.
That's true. Fake news. No. The short answer is no. And the same for Shitoken. He just said no. Neither of us have ever been affected negatively or like passed up.
Right.
Or had any problems. Most of my problems stemmed from other things in the workplace, not my attitude or my introversion. I would say it just makes me a little more tired sometimes. So I've had a lot of customer service jobs. And in those, it just made me more tired because I just would be around people all the time. So I would definitely need to recharge at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So like I would go to work and I would, talk to people all day and talk to my bosses and my coworkers. And then I would come home and I would stream. And by the end of the day, I would just be wrecked. So I would do that for, days and days. And then I would end up having to take like a 4-day long thing where I didn't stream because I just was so tired of talking to people.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I think that was, if it definitely affected me in some ways, but it didn't negatively affect me really overall. It was just tired.
Gotcha. Yeah. It just seems, well, first of all, any career where it seems like socializing is key, I feel like introverts are just going to need more time away from people.
Yeah.
Because that's how that is. But there's a couple things. One of my friends got passed up for a job because they said that she was too quiet and didn't seem very approachable, just because she wasn't super overly warm and overly welcoming when people came into the store. And she's not like she's not shy. She's just more quiet. Like she likes to people watch. She was, anytime someone would ask for help, she'd be immediately there to help them. But it was like this other girl, I guess she went out of her way to say hello. And, I think it's just like natural inclinations for like service industry people that are in the service industry. I feel like that's where people are mostly affected if they're introverts versus they're extroverts. Because extroverts will just fucking blah, 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 blah. And introverts will only say what's necessary. And I feel like that's just because they don't socialize as much and they don't feel the need to make small talk. Would you agree? Do you feel the need to make small talk with your friends?
I mean, I don't typically with my friends, no.
Yeah.
Like, I know them well enough. I don't really need to make small talk all the time.
Yeah. So it's like, I feel like that just in the service industry with like food and, serving. And
because you're having to do the kind of like, hey, how are you?
You're having to suck someone's dick, metaphorically, essentially.
Their spirit dick, yes.
Their spirit dick energy, yeah.
Just like whip it out, put it on the table, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah.
And I mean, I know at the last job I had, I would have regulars. We basically had frequent flyers where they would come in. And I'm pretty sure it was just because, like, they wanted someone to just talk to in between classes.
Right.
So they would come by and just sit and talk about, oh, my daughter got her braces off today. Like, and they would just
Oh.
talk for a real long time about that. And it was sweet. But, you know, you're still making a lot of small talk in between because you don't know anything about their lives. So it's a lot of learning about people, which I like doing. Like, I really genuinely enjoy, and I really like people. I think that just as an introvert, it takes a toll if it's a lot over time.
Yeah.
And particularly with my anxiety. If I didn't have anxiety, I'd probably be way better. But with that, it's kind of like, so I'll go out and I'll hang out with someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like my friend Sarah has to deal with this all the time. I'll go out and I'll get a coffee with her, and we'll be at a Barnes & Noble, and we'll be talking, and we like walk around the Barnes & Noble, and we'll talk, and we'll hang out. I'll be like, okay, see you later, bye. And then I'll worry that she was bored the whole time.
Oh no.
So then I'll text her. I'll be like, "Hey, did you have a good time?" Like, and she's like, "Yes, stop worrying about it." Like, that's where who I am. That's where like I'm already worried about where I'm going to take you when you come by, like for a week of eating. I'm like that kind of shit.
It'll be all right. We'll have fun.
That's how I am as a person.
I'll look at some places and then I'll send them to you, and then I'll be like, are these places shitty or good? And then if you don't know, we'll just go and try it out. It'll be an adventure together.
Yeah, so I feel like being batshit crazy doesn't help me.
I will say, I super worry. I think it's the INFJ part of our personalities that worries that other people are having a good time.
Yeah, that compassion kind of like, are you having a good one? Are you good there? Are you fine?
Because tonight when I go to this meetup that I'm running, I'm going to literally ask every single person probably at least 3 times if they're having a good time. And then I'm going to worry that I pressured them into saying yes because I've asked them so many times. And then it's this whole thing, Jess. It's this whole thing. I just get way too stressed. It's fine. It's fine. Thank you for answering my questions. Being honest.
You're very welcome.
I have to say, if you guys...
Now I'm not going to talk to you for 3 days.
It's too bad. You already gave me that 49 message each day limit. It's getting done.
49 and a half. Just saying, the last week could be like, why are you talking to me? Okay, then I'll just, and then you just don't finish the sentence, and then that's 49 and a half.
Oh, man. I would not send you a half message, because then I'd be wondering, like, I'd have to finish the message.
Like, what are you, Michael Scott, where he's like, I don't even know where I'm going with sentences when I start.
That's absolutely correct. Can I ask you another question? One last question?
A bonus round?
Yeah. It has nothing to do with introverts. I just am really curious. Now that you mentioned Michael Scott, have you watched The Office? What do you think of it?
Oh yeah, I've watched both of The Offices. I love it.
Okay, so like that was not the actual question.
Oh,
the other question is
a double bonus round.
Okay, so have you also watched Parks and Rec?
Yes.
Okay,
I also love Parks and Rec.
Which one do you like more? Do you feel like they're comparable in mockumentary side?
I would say. Oh, that's hard.
It's so hard.
I would say that am I just picking? I'm assuming I'm picking between The Office American and The Office, the Parks and Recreation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, Office. The only reason I would say Office is just because Parks and Recreation I loved, but the very last couple seasons really dragged for me. I didn't think they were as good. Office, I would say after Michael Scott left, it dragged, but it still had really, really good episodes within it, and there was still at least one funny thing in each one. Yeah. And I loved the characters.
Yeah.
I just felt like Parks and Recreation tried too hard at the very end, so I would pick Office.
Interesting. Good to know.
What about you?
Oh my God, do I even know? I love them both, Jess. Yeah.
I know. It's like
they
basically
hit me at different times in my life. Because essentially I hated the beginning of The Office, but I also hated the beginning of Parks and Rec. I hate stupid characters.
They're slow starts.
I hate stupid characters. I hate them. I hate that writers think that we need them still in this day and age. I hated them in the 90s, which is why I don't know a lot about pop culture, because I thought it was stupid that they treated people as stupid, because I really adored, thank you, Father, for Star Trek because Star Trek doesn't have any stupid characters. Everyone's very smart in it. And I was like, oh my God, this is my dream come true. Like, everyone's smart. And not to say there can't be dumb moments. There can. But it's like, oh my God, Andy in Parks and Rec is literally the antithesis of everything that I enjoy in shows.
It says that you're having internet connectivity issues. Like,
oh my God.
Where it's like, where he's Googling her medical symptoms.
Yeah. So they were both very slow starts. I also didn't like Leslie's character at the beginning. They did do a huge reworking of her after the first part of the first season. I think it was like, they did a huge reworking of her, and I thoroughly enjoyed it after that. And in the beginning of The Office, they did the same thing with Michael Scott, because he was also like, he just had a lot of problems with his personality. The other characters in the show did save it. And there wasn't, like, Kevin was kind of stupid, but not crazy stupid. Not like Andy stupid. So they were both in the same wheelhouse of humor for me, but
the people in The Office feel less like caricatures over time.
Absolutely.
Parks and Recreation, where you've got like the really dumb, happy, like dog-like human, and then you've got the really goth chick that is like, they're just, it felt like they just kind of went to the extremes. Everything was like Spinal Tapped.
Yeah.
But Office, it's like, I could relate to Pam. Most of us could, like.
Oh yeah, relate to Pam or Jim. And then like further on in the seasons, you could still relate to parts of the characters, but I definitely agree with you. With Parks and Rec, I felt like there was only like Leslie at the very end was very understandable. Like, I got her. She was still super enthusiastic, which is how I am. So I felt really connected to her towards the end. And then Ann Perkins, Ann is super relatable. I hate her, but super relatable. She was like the normal person in a town of crazy people. So I was like, all right, they have at least this one normal person here that still deals with regular people issues and is not a complete idiot. So I do love them both. It's just interesting to see people's perspective. I just love that show, and I love both the shows. It's so hard. I just love everything.
I love both of them, but it took me a real, like, The Office, I started, and I watched it for a couple months all the way through. The Parks and Recreation, I started, and I watched it, and then I got to the last couple seasons, and I started watching other stuff and watching it. Like, I didn't just go straight through.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh, this is just getting, oh, we're going to lock, Ron and Leslie into a room, and they're going to have to talk for an entire episode, and it was just getting a little bit the same type of jokes and outlandish in spots, and I was like, eh.
I agree. Yeah, it's just.
But so crazy. That's the only reason. The only reason I would pick The Office if I had to go to a desert island, and I only had those two to pick. Those were the only things you could check out from the library. I would probably just check out The Office and watch it again.
It's also longer.
It's also longer.
It's only it's only 2 seasons longer, but it's still longer. All right.
I feel like they just carbon copied the British Office for like the first couple episodes of the American Office, then realized that didn't work for an American audience, so they retooled everything.
Yeah.
And so it gives it a little bit more heart. That the British Office, it just has that dry wit throughout. For sure. And doesn't really focus on it as much.
And I feel like Ricky Gervais is the only person that could pull off that type of character. Because just trying to get someone else to do that wasn't going to work. But yeah, thank you for answering the bonus round, which had nothing to do with introverts.
It was a good bonus round.
It's dope. Thank you.
I'm excited to talk about television shows with you at some point.
Those are the only 2 that I really know. Well, I know more now.
Oh, okay. I was like, those are the only 2 that you've watched in your entire life.
Do you have a favorite show? Is your favorite show not one
favorite
of those?
Television show of all time? Yeah.
What is it?
But you're not gonna know it.
What is it?
It's Push Nevada.
Oh, I have no idea.
It's by one of the men that you constantly say has a punchable face, but
oh my god, Matt Damon or Ben Affleck?
No, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck made a television show with a guy named Sean Bailey back in like 2001.
Bless his soul.
It aired against CSI right at the height of CSI, so it died quickly. But it was really interesting, and I was thinking about it actually when I was writing stuff up for our FMV episode, which is going to be coming up at some point.
Yes.
Because it was an interactive television show.
What?
Very similar to like Netflix's Bandersnatch.
What?
So it's about a guy named Jim Prufrock who's a tax agent, and he goes to this place called Push, Nevada to investigate a bunch of money that has gone missing and basically do an audit. And he finds out that the town is just riddled with weird people and there's something odd going on. The idea was that there are clues in every single episode, and if you watch the whole series, at the end of the series, you could win the money that's missing. So you played along with the show and you basically tried to figure out the mystery along with Jim Prufrock, and it was by far my favorite show. It still makes me happy. I still think about it from time to time. I have like a bunch of press kits that my dad got me a long time ago from it. Aww. And I have some dice. I've got like a bunch of collectible shit from that show that you can't like get anywhere now because it's basically forgotten. And a poster.
The only show.
I would love to meet Ben Affleck today.
Oh god.
And just tell him
oh, dear.
That show. Just like I'm a big fan of yours just because of Push Nevada.
Just because of Push Nevada. You ever heard of a little show called Push Nevada?
I think it's just you and me, Ben.
The only show that I really enjoyed, also that died in 2001, was Dark Angel. And that had...
Oh my god, I remember that!
I loved Michael Weatherly so much. I love him. I also love Jessica Alba, but she's so fine. Oh my god. That was...
Like, the funny thing was...
That was a great show, but then they did the whole... You know why that show died out? So they had a second season and it was canceled immediately. I can't
remember why it was canceled.
The first season came out in 2000, and then the second season came out in 2001. And at the end of 2000... there was this giant electromagnetic pulse that ruined Seattle. And because that's where it takes place. Because she's always sitting on like the Space Needle or whatever. And the reason why they canceled it is because 9/11 happened. And it was a dystopian dystopian city that was like just ravaged, and no one wanted to watch that after 9/11 happened. And so it plummeted, even with Michael Weatherly's fine ass. Oof. So yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no one wanted to watch that fucking show after that. So
there were a lot of good shows that were canceled in early 2000.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
And still, King of Queens fucking held on. How terrible. Oh, yeah. Such a terrible show. I mean, it's fine.
I hated that show. I hated Leah Remini. I kind of just hate Leah Remini as a person. No offense, okay. But she's just real mean. She seems like a real mean person. Does she seem
like a really mean person? Just from the show, or just from real life?
Just in general. Like, I've seen some interviews with her and stuff. She seems real mean, and it shows in her character too. Like, her character is real mean, and Kevin James's character is just kind of dumb and mean.
Kevin James'
I don't know. I just hate
real fucking dumb.
I hated King of Queens. His dad's real mean in it. They were all just unlikable people. God. And it wasn't well written. No, so it's like you've got unlikable people in a show that's not well written, and we're going to have it on for 15 million seasons. And I was like, oh my god. Yeah. Okay, but please cancel all of these other... Cancel Firefly. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm so mad.
Oh. Well, thank you for the bonus round of talking about TV. Eventually we'll get welcome. To like a whole episode about it. Maybe we'll have to have a few episodes and just talk about like our favorite... Are genres a thing in TV? Are genres a thing? Like comedies?
Yeah, you can have like horror television shows.
I've never watched a horror television show. You
kind of did.
I've never seen
Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, Haunting of Hill House. Yeah, that's true. Does it really count when I just watched something?
But yes, it still counts as that genre.
Yeah, it does. It do though.
It do. Sometimes it'd be like that though.
Sometimes it'd be like that though. But I've never seen like Tales of the Crypt Keeper or Twilight Zone or what else is there? What's the really, really creepy one?
Well, there's like Tales from the Crypt.
There's Dark
American
Shadows. Horror Story. I've never seen
American Horror Story. There was The Exorcist. They made a television show about based off the movie.
Oh my god.
Well, there's some. There's one of my old favorites is like Kolchak the Night Stalker. That's a great television show from the 70s.
That sounds like Knight Rider, but it's probably
Buffy the Vampire
I've never
Slayer.
seen Twin Peaks, so
that's a good one too.
Yeah, I've been.
Maybe we'll just have to have a podcast where like you are assigned television shows and we discuss them.
Oh, I'd be down for that. I could do that. I'd be down. I've watched a lot of horror movies, but I haven't seen a lot of horror shows, and not a lot of horror shows either.
I mean, have you watched anything on the CW?
All right. Good day and good night.
Bye.